Welcome back, folks, to the random video blog where every single Friday I, Graham G.S. Matthews, run down my rambling wrestling thoughts, share a few stories, etc., etc. And as of right now, we are only 48 hours away from the return of WWE's Backlash pay-per-view. Last week I talked about here in the video blog, to a great response from you guys, what pay-per-views WWE should bring back, whether it be Judgment Day, Great American Bash, so on and so forth. Check out the full list for yourself in last week's video blog. So on that same topic, like I said, I'm super pumped for Backlash this Sunday. I think it has the potential to be a great show. I don't know if I love the idea of doing 2 pay-per-views a month throughout the year, with the exception obviously of SummerSlam, WrestleMania, so on and so forth. But still, I think so far the brand split has worked out very well, and I just love Backlash. And I talked about this a couple days ago. The review won't be up for like another 2 months or so. But I just got done reviewing the Armageddon series. I just got done finished watching them. I just finished watching them and reviewing them for WrestleRant. They're all in the can. They should all be up in the next few months or so. But I'm thinking to myself, what is the best pay-per-view that WWE has put on in their existence that almost always was a great show? Armageddon, not so much, which is what kind of triggered that thought in my mind. WrestleMania, definitely not. SummerSlam, definitely not. Survivor Series, definitely not. Rumble, too. Just because they've been around for longer, so it's a lot harder to say that every installment more often than not has been great. That being said, I'm thinking, what pay-per-view did WWE do that was almost always worth watching? And to my memory, it was Backlash. Almost every single show, if not every single show, from 1999 to 2009, were all excellent. And I'm really hoping that streak continues this Sunday with this year's installment, because I think it has the potential to continue that streak just because it looks like a really good show on paper. But if you look back at the last 11 Backlash shows from 99 to 2009, and almost every single one of them were really, really good. And moreover, had some amazing matches to boot. So that being said, I made a list of my top 7 favorite Backlash matches, and not only in the time that I was a fan for, because there would be really no list, because I started watching in 2008. Like I said, the pay-per-view was held in 2008, excuse me, and my voice was just completely cracking there, just not allowing me to say what I was going to say. 2008 was when it was held when I was a fan, and 2009 was when it was retired before it was brought back this year, obviously. So that being said, I can't go off, strictly off of, shows that I was a fan for. I have to go back throughout history, and there's a lot of great matches throughout history. I knew I would definitely have to throw on this list. So anyway, I was originally going to do a top 5, but there were just so many really good matches, I had to go the full 7. So starting out in number 7 is from the 2005 installment. As you guys probably know, one of my favorite years in wrestling history. I just love that fucking year for the feuds and the matches and the rising stars that were Cena, Mysterio, Batista, Orton, Edge, and so on and so forth. But from that show, Backlash 2005 was a last man standing match. Now that show is probably best remembered for the main event, the WrestleMania rematch between Triple H and Batista for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Hulk Hogan returning to action, a tag team to team up with Shawn Michaels against Muhammad Hassan and Daivari. However, also on that show, in a match that I thought was very much underrated, a last man standing match between 2 arch rivals, Chris Benoit and Edge. And again, as you guys know, I'm a sucker for storytelling, and this feud goes back almost a year, when Benoit was World Heavyweight Champion and Edge was Intercontinental Champion. They were teaming on and off. They won the tag team titles on a few different occasions. Edge went nuts. He turned on Benoit. He cost them the World Tag Team titles that year at Taboo Tuesday. They were feuding on and off for several months, and at WrestleMania 21, Edge cost Benoit the Money in the Bank briefcase, thus becoming the new and inaugural Mr. Money in the Bank. So it all culminated in one last match of Backlash. A really good fucking match. And as I've always said, last man standing matches can either be really hit or miss. They can either be really, really exciting and really, really fun, or they can be just really, really boring. Considering, it really all is a matter of who is involved in the match. And you have 2 amazing workers in Edge and Chris Benoit. It's really hard to go wrong there. So these 2 have a great match. In the end, Edge scores the victory, getting that final, putting that final exclamation point on the rivalry between him and Chris Benoit, and thus furthering his momentum as Mr. Money in the Bank. From there, we go to the 2003 installment between The Rock and Goldberg, the main event for that show. And again, just a really, really fun show coming out of WrestleMania 9. The night after WrestleMania 19 was when Goldberg debuted and immediately set his sights on The Rock, thus setting the stage for a dream match for many. Excuse me if my voice is like shot right now. I just woke up like literally 20 minutes ago. But anyway, yeah, so The Rock and Goldberg set for Backlash, a dream match for Money at that period in time. I believe Goldberg's first match, unless he wrestled on Raw before that, I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember. But still, not a technical masterpiece, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't a great wrestling match. You can't watch this match and expect something along the lines of a Benoit and Edge. I enjoyed it for different reasons, because Rock was so fucking good in that role as the Hollywood heel, as this douchebag that you just really wanted to hate. He was just so, he thrived in that role. And Goldberg kind of fed off of that. He was a really good foil for The Rock. And at the same time, I feel like people cheered more for Rock than they did Goldberg just because Rock was so fucking entertaining. Anyway, though, just a fun little match, a good little marquee match, a spectacle of sorts. Goldberg goes over. A really good way to close off the 03 installment. A lot better than the six-man tag team match was good, too. That was, I think, Shawn, Booker T, and Jericho, I want to say. No, not Jericho. Somebody else. I forgot. Versus Evolution, versus Triple H. No, Jericho and Ric Flair, I think it was. So anyway, a really good main event to the 03 installment. Coming in at number 5 here is from the 2007 installment, a year that I do not, talk about all that often here in the show, just because there's not a lot of matches from that year that I like. But I really enjoyed this match, specifically the promo leading up to it. Not the pre-match video package, whatever, but a backstage segment between John Cena and Randy Orton. And Orton was cutting this promo how, John Cena and I are going to get in the ring tonight together. We're going to dominate. We're going to rule the WWE together. He's going to help me eliminate Edge and Shawn Michaels for one night only. All this other kind of stuff. And then Cena comes in and he goes, we're going to get together one night only. I know it's 2007. Hey, if you want to do that thing, like kind of implying that he was gay. If you want to do that thing, that's completely okay with me. I know you kind of have your looks and whatever, and you do that whole like arm thing. And the way he did that had me fucking dying. I thought it was so funny. So funny. Those two had great chemistry with each other back then. But anyway, so it led to a really, really fun Fatal 4-Way. Coming off the great series of matches that Cena and Shawn Michaels had at WrestleMania 23, obviously on Raw in England, on the go-home show for this pay-per-view. Just a really, really good match. And in the end, John Cena ultimately retains. Cena wins, LOL. But everyone got their spots, and I thought the finish was fantastic. Cena just so happens to fall, I think on either Edge or Orton, to score the victory after Shawn Michaels delivers a sweet chin music to him. He falls right on top of his opponent to score the 1, 2, 3 and retain his title. So again, great match and a really fun match. A really fun main event to the 07 installment. Coming in at number 4 is from Backlash 2000. And again, I do not often go all the way back to like the earlier installments, but how can you not include this match on a list of best slash, and this is only favorite, not really best, my personal top 5 or top 7 favorite rather. How can you not include this match on a top 7 best slash favorite list of matches from Backlash's history? From the 2000 installment, you had Triple H coming out of WrestleMania 2000, emerging victorious from the Fatal 4-Way elimination match between Rock, Foley, and Big Show, still the WWE champion. Who's going to put an end to his reign? Well, The Rock. He got screwed out of the title at WrestleMania. He got one more shot at Backlash, one-on-one. Who was going to be in his corner? Triple H had, he had Vince, he had fucking Stephanie, whatever. He had everybody. So who was Rock? Who had Rock's back? So the match itself was really entertaining, as you could probably expect. Triple H and Rock ruled the year of 2000. They had a lot of great matches, a lot of great feuds throughout the Attitude Era. One of the most iconic feuds, and in my opinion, one of the most underrated feuds throughout the Attitude Era. Just because they had so many matches and so many feuds, I feel like people solely focus on Austin versus Rock or Austin versus McMahon. I would say the better feud was McMahon and Stone Cold, and then Triple H and The Rock. They really fucking killed it, and they had a lot better matches too. So a really, really fun match. And speaking of Stone Cold, in the end, right before Rock was down for the count at the hands of Triple H, boom, the glass shatters. Stone Cold was supposed to be there, but he didn't show up. He got attacked or something. Shows up the last possible second. And I'm sure you've heard this before. It's widely regarded as one of the loudest pops of all time. One of the loudest extended reactions in WWE history. The place fucking loses it, and that's putting it nicely, okay? Place loses it when Austin comes out. He smacks Triple H over the head with the steel chair and helps Rock win the WWE Championship. Just an amazing moment that should have happened at WrestleMania. It made that match, it made that whole show infinitely better than WrestleMania 2000. That show sucked. Other than Triple Threat TLC, that show was fucking awful. Backlash killed it. And I thought this match was just tremendous, and that especially for that finishing sequence. Again, I'd be remiss not to include that match on my list. Coming in at number 3, I know it might be a little bit higher than some people would like it to be, just because I have a personal attachment to the show, being a fan for it, having seen it so many times, just because I fucking love the show. Backlash 2009, another last man standing match, this time not between, including Edge, but not between Edge and Benoit, but rather between Edge and another arch rival of his, John Cena. And these guys have had matches for years, matches in 06, 7, 8, 9, all these years, WrestleMania. They had a really iconic feud throughout those 3 or 4 years, and they rekindled that rivalry in time for Backlash over the World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena conquered Edge and Big Show in the same match, in a triple threat match at WrestleMania 25 to win the belt. But it all came down to this. Edge, I just will never forget the promos leading up to this match. I hate you, John Cena. I hate your hat. I hate your colors. I hate your t-shirt. I hate everything that you stand for. And just listing off, just sounding off on John Cena, going off on everything that he hated, pretty much everything that he hated about John Cena. And it was just perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And this new vindictive, aggressive, intense Edge is exactly what we needed for this feud. Because the feud did absolutely nothing for me going into WrestleMania. The match was all right. It wasn't a spectacle. It was a Raw main event at best. A B-level pay-per-view main event at best. And that's being really generous. But this feud killed it. They went all over the arena. They did an AA. Cena did an AA to Edge into the crowd, which was really cool. So they battle all over the arena, even backstage, in the hallways. I know Mr. Marceau, RJ was there as a mini Marceau many years ago, so he can attest to this match and how good it was. So anyway, they get all the way to the stage area, and Cena seemingly has the match won. Edge spears him, doesn't put him out. Cena, he might deliver an AA, or he's about to deliver an AA, when Big Show comes out of nowhere. God forbid, I know, but it led to an amazing spot where Big Show lifts up John Cena for a choke slam and throws him right into the spotlight in the middle of the stage, or the end of the stage, rather, making this catastrophic explosion. And it was just, I don't even know how they did it to this day without hurting John Cena. He went right through the glass, the thing exploded, or maybe around it did. I'm not exactly sure how they did it, but they did it, and it looked fucking awesome. Obviously, thank God John Cena did not get up from that. That would have been, it's like getting shot and then getting up at 2 and then kicking out at 2. It would have been the same exact thing. So thank God he did not get out of that. And instead, Edge obviously won the match with the 10 count and became the new World Heavyweight Champion. So it led, obviously, unfortunately, into a Big Show versus Cena feud, but that moment itself was great, and the match itself was also really, really good and one of my favorites from Backlash. So the next 2 matches, I'm going to cheat here and use 2 matches from the same show. I thought Backlash 04 might have been the best installment of Backlash of all time, if only for these 2 matches. At number 2, the main event itself for the World Heavyweight Championship, a WrestleMania rematch that does not get the love it deserves, does not get talked about as much as it probably should. Benoit retaining the title against Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Now, the WrestleMania main event between these 3 guys was tremendous. One of the best of all time, probably my top 5. But that being said, I feel like people forget there was an exact rematch. Not between Benoit and Triple H or Benoit and Michaels. It was Benoit, Triple H, and Michaels. And I remember watching the 04 draft, the 2004 WWE draft. And I think the original match was Benoit and Michaels. Because remember, Triple H got drafted to SmackDown. That obviously did not last long. He was back on Raw either the next week or 2 weeks after that. And thus got inserted into this match. He had a championship rematch. And he got it on this show in the form of a triple threat match. And once again, they worked absolutely amazingly well together in producing the instant classic. Great counters, great pace, great psychology, great storytelling. Just throughout the bout, amazing top tier stuff. In the end, Benoit once again successful. And I think he pinned Michaels this time. I don't remember. But he scored the victory to retain his World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm pretty sure this event took place in Canada, too. So it's kind of like a homecoming for Benoit. So it was only fitting the match main event, and obviously, as it should have, it was for the world title. And Benoit won. He was the homecoming hero. He retained the title. He walked in as champion, and he walked out as champion. So, amazing stuff. But my favorite match, not only from that show, but in all of Backlash's history, maybe up until this Sunday, we'll see. I don't know if anything's going to top this, though. Is also from the 2004 installment, a no-holds-barred match for the Intercontinental Championship. You know where I'm going with this. Cactus Jack versus Randy Orton. And a lot like we're going full circle here with Benoit and Edge at number 7, and that this feud had so much fucking history. You know, you go all the way back to the final few months of 2003. Orton relentlessly bullying over and over Mick Foley and just beating, just disrespecting him. I'm pretty sure even months earlier than that, he kicked him in a stairwell, he spit in his face, and then Mick Foley left Raw, and that was it. We didn't see Mick Foley for a while. Returning in the Rumble to eliminate Randy Orton to further that feud, reignite that rivalry in time for WrestleMania. It might have been better that they did this match at Backlash and not at WrestleMania. It should have been at WrestleMania, but they wanted to bring Rock back and do Rock and Sock versus Evolution, which was fun. I enjoyed it, and it's definitely one of my, not top 10 favorite matches of all time at WrestleMania, but it's on the top 31 list that I put out earlier this year. It was a fun match, but it wasn't this kind of match. And Foley said he was disappointed in that match anyway. His first real wrestling match in 4 years, and he thought he fucked up. He just didn't do well. So this was really his redemption story here, and then he put forth an absolutely amazing effort. In the end, Orton emerging victorious, but not after going through absolute hell with the thumbtacks, all this blood, barbed wire steel chairs, all this. It was just absolute mayhem, pure mayhem. And I don't like these matches more often than not just because I feel like they get too hardcore just for the sake of getting hardcore. You know what I mean? It's not like, I don't like blood or something like that. It's just that I just don't feel like it needs all this unnecessary hardcore elements. However, though, I thought they did an amazing job of telling that story, and I loved every single second of this bloodbath. And it really put over Randy Orton in a new way, in an absolute major way, that he didn't get over at WrestleMania despite scoring the pinfall victory over Mick Foley. So just a match that really, in my mind, and in the mind of many, that made Randy Orton and solidified him as a star on the rise. So again, incredible match and an incredible Backlash event, an incredible installment from Backlash in 04. And like I said, pretty much every show is really, really good. So check them out on the WWE Network before this Sunday show. I'll go through my list once again if you want to binge watch these matches in particular. Number 7, Benoit and Edge versus, from the Last Man Standing match in 2005. Number 6, The Rock and Goldberg from Backlash 2003. Number 5, John Cena versus Shawn Michaels versus Randy Orton versus Edge from Backlash 2007. Number 4, Triple H versus The Rock from Backlash 2000. Number 3, Edge versus John Cena from Backlash 2009. Number 2, Triple Threat Main Event, Chris Benoit versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels from Backlash 2004. And also from Backlash 2004, Randy Orton versus Cactus Jack for the Intercontinental Championship and that no-hold-barred bloodbath. So that being said, guys, I would love to know what your favorite Backlash matches are, whether they be main events, openers, whatever it is. We'd love to know what your top 10, top 7, top 5 list is. You can leave it down in the comment section below. You can hit me up on Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.GSN.Matthews, or right here on YouTube too. I already said that, but also on the Twitter machine too, at WrestleRun. Be sure to tweet me. And I look forward to Sunday's pay-per-view and hear from you guys as well. So that being said, next week, I already recorded the video, so it should be up next week. I will be talking about bringing back the series I have not done in a while. You Never Know Who Might Be a Wrestling Fan, Part 8, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's Part 8. But that will be up next Friday, so be sure to check that out. And in the meantime, and in between time, have an amazing weekend, guys. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch you fine folks down the road.